Hallie Jackson is down on the floor for us. Hallie, what do we know?
Hey, Lester, a source familiar with that call tells me that J.D. Vance and Kamala Harris, the vice president, have spoken by phone with another person describing the conversation as brief and cordial. And I want you to come here. I want to show you. You already see these Trump-Vance signs on the convention floor as night 2 is in full swing. Ahead of the second night of the Republican convention, the new GOP vice presidential candidate making an appearance on stage after his new running mate's appearance off it on Monday. Republicans roaring in what's becoming the defining moment of the convention so far. The crowd pumping their fists in unison, yelling, "Fight." Mirroring the moment, the former president chanted those same words while being rushed off stage Saturday after surviving an assassination attempt. His ear covered in blood, but now covered by a bandage, clearly visible. Today, his former White House doctor, Ronnie Jackson, now a congressman, describing in detail the injury.
It just took the top of his ear off, a little bit of the top of his ear off as it passed through, you know.
NBC News has learned Mr. Trump has now spoken with a family member of Corey Comparator, the rally-goer and firefighter dad killed in the assassination attempt, according to a source familiar with the conversation. That stunning shooting hanging over convention week.
On Saturday, the devil came to Pennsylvania holding a rifle, but an American lion got back up on his feet and he roared!
And the focus tonight on unity. Set to take the stage, previous primary opponents, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, Ron DeSantis, and Nikki Haley, among Mr. Trump's most bitter rivals in the primary.
It is not normal to go and throw temper tantrums.
But now Nikki Haley's been offered an olive branch of sorts, a last-minute speaking slot at the convention. You can see her here on stage getting ready for tonight. She's expected to aim her message at voters who are uncertain about Mr. Trump and make the case for why she's voting for him, according to a source with knowledge of her remarks. A signal of the Trump takeover of the GOP as he's remade the party in his image.
We're not a unified party on every issue, but we're unified behind this ticket.
Senator Vance, now under fire from Democrats for his previous criticisms of Mr. Trump, including declaring himself a never-Trump guy.
I was certainly skeptical of Donald Trump in 2016, but President Trump was a great president, and he changed my mind.
Vance flanking the former president and his children Monday. And late tonight, a security incident outside the convention perimeter, with police saying there was an officer involved shooting, no officers injured. Our Milwaukee station reporting the victim was experiencing homelessness. Lester?
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.